It is indeed a pleasure to have this privilege to play here for you. We intend to give you a very fine program, so just settle back, relax, and enjoy the moment.
Mic check. I don't know who might want to catch me on Facebook. Good morning. Ooh, I had to get up early. What's up, Rugby? What's up, Kia? Thank you, Kia, for the other day. How I sound? I sound good? Mic check. What's up, Courtney? What's up, Megzy? How you feeling? You fully inoculated, Megzy. How you feeling? What's up, Allie? We never did a post mortem recap, Allie. Mornings have not been the same. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm happy to be back now. So this is the drill. Y'all remember all the interruptions in the feed and everything like that, right? I'm on Facebook and Twitch at the same time. I don't know if anything drops, I'm just gonna like hop off and hop right back on to just Twitch. But just wanted to for today, especially. Yeah, and Nicole, welcome back too from your trip. Did you bring us back anything? Drop in the chat. Drop your gift in the chat, Nicole. If you brought us anything back from Epcot. But yeah, if we have an interruption in the feed and whatever, for my Twitch peeps, I'm just gonna hop off and go right back. But we gonna claim it. I got some candles burning. I did some meditation, some mindfulness. So hopefully everything will work here. But today, who's that? First time chat solo. What is it? Solo Dola? What? Cheryl. Who's Cheryl? Oh, it's so cute. I love it. Welcome to the chat, yo. Welcome to the chat. What's up, El Cool J? Good morning. All right. I appreciate y'all. Y'all make me feel so just great. Anyway, it's November 2nd, which means it's the second day of Tamika's birthday. It's the second day of Meekmas, as I call it. November 1st. It starts November 1st with my late brother's birthday. May he rest in paradise. Love you, bro. Love you, bro. So yeah, his birthday is November 1st. I'm November 10th, me and my twin brother, and my father's November 8th. Okay, so I have deemed the first 10 days of November the 10 days of Meekmas. So yes, and I just want to say, let me see. Y'all see that right there? Oh, behind me? Shout out to my girl, Hillary. Hillary gave me a beautiful orchid yesterday. And I was so happy I got to really connect with her. And I am like, it filled me up so much. Got a dope card. More than just the card in the gift. Hillary is just a very beautiful person. It was so great to just hold space with her. And it was a great way to kick off the 10 days of Meekmas. Yeah, let me see what y'all saying in the chat real quick. Yeah. A lot of November. Like, seriously, you know how when you buy a car in a certain color, you just see cars of that color? It feels like that for Scorpio season. It feels like, oh, you a Scorpio? You November baby? Or you November birthday baby? It feels that way. Yeah, it's a lot. Nicole included. So, and Nicole, happy birthday to you coming up. I got to do better. I got to start like being a good gift giver. I'm horrible. I'm not even a selfish person, but I feel that way. Anyway, let's get to it. So, thank you. Oh, Brianne would love that. Thank you. I appreciate the support. So it's a great way to come back on. I knew I was going to come back on for Election Day. So this is how it's going to go too. So this morning, do the live stream. We're going to do everything we usually do, but really focus heavily on local races, of course, and also national races or races in other states that have national implications. Like, I'm watching you, Virginia. I'm watching you, Jersey. Shout out Jersey. Stand up. So we're going to talk about those things. I mean, it's been a lot. I took a little bit of a break from news like that. But yesterday I just jumped in, starting, I think, Sunday, as I recorded the podcast, the Mic'd Up audio podcast, I just jumped into news and just kept reading and reading and reading, trying to catch up with everything that's been happening here locally that has nothing to do with the ballot box at all. Right. So let's go ahead and flip the scene, and let's hop into it. Let me see. Thank y'all so much for the subs. I appreciate y'all. Y'all held it down too before I left. The hype train was real. I appreciate y'all. For those who are watching for the first time, welcome. What's up, Jerome? Jerome on Facebook. If you're watching for the first time, this is mic'd up in the morning with your girl Mika. Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Nicole, don't be doing all this heavy lifting. You make me feel I love you. But if you also want to shout out to everybody who's been supporting the live stream via Twitch subs. So y'all learned how to get bits last time. Shout out to y'all. And you can always support on Patreon. You see the Patreon website or URL right there at the bottom left corner of the screen. So head over to Patreon. Shout out to my new patrons. Shout out D from XBB. I don't mind. I hope she don't mind me saying that, but that's my girl, new patron. Shout out Jennifer. Jennifer W. And shout out April. Welcome to Patreon. Thank you so much for the new Patreon subscribers. I really appreciate it. Yeah. Drop all those Scorpios. You can drop them in the chat all day, Nicole. I'm just checking it out. All right. So let's jump into election day stuff. Let's get people prepared and let's just do it. I don't know. Again, I have been so gone from Facebook, and I talk so much shit about Facebook that I feel like the algorithm's like, bitch, we're not gonna support your content. So I don't know who'll be watching. If you're watching on Facebook, I see 2 eyeballs on. If you're watching one of them is probably me. But if you're watching on Facebook, just drop a good morning in the chat, okay? Don't even try. Y'all are crazy. All right, cool. I appreciate you. Kia, you said solo. How you say it? Solo Dolola. And I used to work at okay, that's cool. One of 3 black teachers, North Charleston Elementary. Jesus, welcome to the chat. I appreciate you. All right, let me stop cursing. I know it's gonna piss off the Facebook people. Let me stop cursing. Let's get into it. I'm just gonna play this recent video, and then we're gonna hop around headlines. Get you ready. Shout out to Kia for your message about voting. We already know you did your absentee. You and your mama held it down. That's what's up. Hopefully people will go out today and hold it down. And I will be coming back. So I want to ask my Twitch peoples and anybody watching anywhere. I wanted to ask y'all, what time should I come back? Because I was just gonna come back like butt ass early, but it didn't make any sense. I think I'm gonna come back and do an evening live stream. So as the polls close, we know the polls close at 7 p.m. Right? And we know that I'm going to probably come on. I wanted to come on maybe about 5 to kind of see if there's any news, any developments, anything like that. So I am coming back to the Twitch stream this evening. So, but y'all tell me what time makes sense for y'all. Even if you probably going to be with the kiddos and all that. But if you do want to watch the election, watch things come in, what time y'all think I should come on? 6 or 6 or 5? What y'all think? So let me know in the chat as I play this clip.
Good evening. So glad to have you here tonight. I'm Brendan Clark.
Good evening, everyone. We are glad you're watching. I'm Carolyn Murray. News 2 is your local election headquarters, and tonight we are getting ready for all of the races happening tomorrow.
Yeah, News 2's Lexi Moore joins us live from downtown Charleston. Lexi, Charleston County officials tell you every person has a role in tomorrow's elections.
Yeah, that's right, Brendan. Carolyn, in less than 12 hours, polls open all across the Low Country for more than 50 races, including some major mayor and council candidates. And tonight, I spoke with Charleston County officials telling me on what you need to know before you hit the polls tomorrow.
Polling places across the Low Country gearing up for their biggest day of the year.
I think a lot of folks are not realizing that heading into tomorrow, Election Day, that they actually have a candidate or an office on the ballot that they can vote in.
Isaac Kramer, the executive director for the Charleston County Board of Elections, says he expects the biggest elections in the county happening tomorrow in Mount Pleasant and the Isle of Palms, who both have mayors up for re-election. And more than 360 people cast their absentee ballot on Isle of Palms on Friday.
We've just seen a lot more excitement with the Mount Pleasant Isle of Palms race. Just
y'all remember my story about Isaac? Isaac pulled me aside, former vice president in training with Trader Joe's. I was going to be a regional vice president. Pulled me aside and told me that I was engaging voters at the voting booth too long. Y'all remember my story about Isaac Kramer? Credible, trustworthy, listen to him. Yeah, all that. I'm sure he's probably decent at his job. But the way he used to down talk me at the polls, like I was some sort of like rube or some. I'm like, you telling me how to move lines. I'm the Black Friday queen. I'm talking about I moved a Bissell or two at Target, okay, as an executive. You gonna tell me how to move lines? Like, Isaac, go take several seats. I will never let that go. Isaac was so goddamn condescending, but he all right, do your thing, Isaac. Do your thing. I can't stand. Ugh.
On the amount of people that have requested an absentee ballot for those municipalities.
Kramer says he expects a lower turnout in the city of Charleston, as many races have just a single candidate.
Typically, voters are not used to that because mayor is on the ballot, and we usually will have 20 to 30% turnout.
Charleston County expects 500 to 600 poll workers for this year's election, which is almost double than how many have worked in the past. Kramer says each worker will receive a $100 stipend, as they are critical to the voting day process.
They're exposing themselves for a 12-hour day to voters who will be without masks, with masks. So it's a thank you to them, but also it's something we can do with COVID going on.
Kramer says if you're still on the fence about hitting the polls, it's important to get out there and cast your vote.
We're encouraging you to wear a mask. It's not mandatory, but it is encouraged. And just have one.
Wait, y'all see? Wait, hold on. Did I spy with my little eye? Did I spy?
And cast.
Yes, I did. I did see that. She probably didn't know that.
Important to get out
Y'all
there and cast.
How to be anti-racist? Go ahead, girl. I used to be a poll worker, y'all. Not that poll, but at the polls. I used to be a poll worker, and I also ran my own precinct too. Shout out to, like, I was keeping it real about Isaac. Isaac was very condescending to me for some reason. Felt the need to always pull me aside and giving me direct feedback on my performance in real time. It was really weird too. Cause I was very quiet. But I will say that there was so many dope and amazing people I met, and there was so many dope, amazing people who believed in me. It was like, yo, we see you be a leader, and so we're going to give you your own precinct on election day. This was like the 2016 elections, and I was on James Island holding it down for the first, like, as a complete new to the whole situation. And so for all I say about Isaac, it was a very transformative and great experience to work at the polls, not just work as a poll worker during the absentee in-person voting, but also to hold it down on election day on such a critically important election. And when, like, people would come in with all these conservative views, which is cool, like, have your views where, you know, you can't wear the caps, you can't wear, but like when people would come in here and make it very known that they were like pro-Trump, it almost felt like they were trying to see whether or not they were looking for like that rigging. And to see how many women and men were so professional and just gave them the best customer service. I helped so many people who voted for Trump. And like, it felt great. It felt great to not like to do your job, like to be led by something greater than your own political affiliation or ideology. So like, it was a really great experience. Now it's exhausting, 12 hours, and the pay is not great. And I was that lady that brought the whole brought my whole like cooler with meals for the whole day in there. Cause it was just a long day. You can't do nothing. You can't order food. You can't, I didn't do anything but my job there. No cell phone, no nothing. It was a great experience. So shout out to all the poll workers. Shout out to all the people holding it down, because it is a thankless job, and you get a lot of people in there to try to make a political point. Just come in here and vote, bruh. Just come in here. But we don't have to talk about voter ID laws. Just come and vote. But every time I would say, save for one person that stands out, I've seen nothing out of the hundreds of people I work with and helped. Just like one or two incidents that popped up in my mind of like being like not so positive. So it was a dope experience.
It's your vote.
We're encouraging you to wear a mask. It's not mandatory, but it is encouraged. And just have one of your photo IDs ready to vote tomorrow.
Yes.
We have all the information on where your polling location is and who is on your ballot on our website. That's counton2.com. And we'll have full coverage tomorrow on News 2, starting at News 2 today at 4:30 a.m. Reporting live in downtown Charleston, I'm Lexi Moore, Count on 2.
Go ahead, Lexi. It was kind of brisk out there. Lexi was bundled up. I guess it was last night. All right, so I want to keep going with this. Ooh, election preview. So we're gonna hop over to, yep, we're biased. We're gonna hop over to Instagram real quick. We're gonna play that clip about the election preview. Oh no, Lord have mercy. Let's go to BLM. Let's see if their stuff is still up. Yeah, I think they made a dedicated posts for at least the 2 races. They didn't do the third. That's cool. So shout out to BLM, Charleston BLM. Shout out to also, we're going to go over to Soda City Bail. Those are my people holding the fuck down. Shout out to Columbia. Those are my people. Like, that's gang gang. But I think what BLM did here was pretty solid too. Like, break it down. So you have this, you have the Charleston City Council District 10, you got, it's Harry Griffin, it's Stephen Bowden, right? And then they say this is a voting guide. This is the BLM voting guide. So why is it important to vote for city council? They lift up those issues, why these local elections are important, right? So right here it says council members have the final say of city budgets. And you know that BLM, I've since backed away from, not backed away like not support, but just not an integral organizer with the People's Budget. But I've seen BLM and the People's Budget folks, which is the Low Country Action Committee. I don't know why I keep fucking up their name. It's not intentional. The Low Country Action Committee and BLM have really been working together, which is what you want to see, right? You want to see that. And so they've been working together and amplifying this content, which is so dope to see. So when you see city budgets at the top, think about hop over to People's Budget and familiarize yourself with that, what they're trying to lift up and what they're trying to to make more clear for folks, right? We know why it's important to vote your local elections. These are very important, and these off-year elections typically draw lower voter turnout. So shout out to BLM for making this guy. I think what's important, because I think we got the Harry Griffin thing pretty good. Like we should know, we should have a great grasp. This is the one. Remember, we watched a little bit of the League of Women Voters Voter Forum featuring Tim. Is it Weber or Weber? Keep me honest in the chat, and I got you in the chat. I'm about to read on Twitch. I already had my suspicions about Tim Weber and Steve Bailey, those really icky Facebook and IG pages that are really, really disgusting and anti-Black. And I'm probably going to go show it to you in a second. But I'm glad that BLM did this, because I think a lot of people really don't know who this guy is. And sometimes, given how the police have helped frame the issue of crime on the east side, like the police are making a concerted effort to lift up all the instances of crime going on in this region. We know how that works hand in hand with gentrification, right? So that's going on. I just think people just really don't know who this guy is. And like someone mentioned to me in my DMs on IG yesterday, this is how also Saccharin was able to get his seat. Now, however you feel about Saccharin, a lot of people are mixed on him, right? A lot of people personally. And I'm not necessarily, it's important. The personal is important. Like if he has shitty constituent relations skills, and if he's just not accessible, or if he's, rude or condescending, or those things matter. But the voting record matters. Not kind of, I want to see how you vote, like how you feel. Like sometimes it is, this is when I put on my operative hat. Sometimes it is fuck your feelings. about how you feel about a person. I just need you to show up and vote the way you need to vote because you work for me type deal. So I know people's opinions on Saccharin is mixed. I've gotten that feedback in my inbox for over a year. And I've seen him do things. I'm like, come on, bro, be a better politician. But people lifted up how Saccharin got his seat, right? And we see how black city council people, that number has dwindled, and black political power has also dwindled with that lack of. But it's also illustrative of the different, like the demographic shifts in Charleston on the peninsula. It's predominantly white. So, black political power is just going to continue to diminish. But check this out. If y'all get a chance, read these bullet points line by line so you understand more about the importance of local election. They lift that up here. And then what I think is important that they did was talk about this. Talk about what, vows to vote against the Commission on Racial Equity if elected, spread misinformation and made false accusations via the social media against Marcus McDonald, which I didn't know until this was posted. I didn't know he made that's no bueno. Nah, that's not going to work. That's not going to work, right? Admin of the Eastside Neighborhood Facebook group, right? Yeah. So let me head back over to the chat over here on Twitch. I'm just going back up. Might not be in line with what I'm talking about now, but let me just read the comments. Yes, you worked the last presidential out in Hollywood. Yep, long day. But the women who have held the post, for years and years. Yeah, that's what I like about it too. So shout out to you, El Cool J, for being a poll worker. Kia, you said, please, let's discuss New Jersey. Oh, we there. Come on. We going to do it. We're going to do it. Very disappointed how red it's not red now. Jersey ain't red. Remember they had Chris Christie for 2 terms. But the Jersey, the Democratic machine, it ain't red, but I hear what you're saying though. The race is way closer than it should be, but that's another thing. We're gonna get to it. Yeah. And then you went you went to Harlem, I could see and feel it walking through Hoboken and Jersey City, that area up there, Hudson County and whatnot. One of the biggest, like most gentrifying areas in the country. They were number 6 when Charleston was number 1. Jersey City was number 6 when Charleston was number 1, which is crazy to me. I thought it would be the inverse. Yeah. Can I share voting locations where we vote? Like all of them? We're going to keep covering. I don't know about voting locations because the precincts are innumerable. Like they're everywhere, but we can continue to watch the coverage. If you want me to walk through where I would look for my own polling place, I could do that, but it's a lot of polling places. But I can walk you through like where you need to go, like vote 411 and whatnot. Wanted to go to somewhere else. Let's go to that icky page real quick that I think Mr. Tim is, and then like they did this thing where they followed all the black and woke accounts. Not saying woke like to be kind of cute, but they like this Eastside Charleston. Shout out to the homie that put me on to the page. So this Eastside Charleston, 553 followers, right? This is a really gross page. I'm not gonna click on anything here, but all they do is lift up crime. All they do is show kids. Like show poverty and whatnot, and there's no care for the community. There's no, and then this is sad though. Well, not sad, but just sometimes it's not sad. It's what it is. I don't know what the word is, but yeah, it's really yucky page that only highlights the crime. It doesn't really talk about solutions. Doesn't really talk about the root causes of it. And you can see right here, raising awareness of downtown neighborhood left abandoned by Mayor Tecklenburg, City of Charleston, and CPD, which is interesting. So very pro-police, very anti-black, very, very racist. This is racist to racialize poverty, to racialize crime, right? Because I assure you that there are non-black people committing all, it's just one-sided. And so this is the pathology that white supremacy needs to kind of like, they scapegoat black people and people dealing with certain socioeconomic challenges. They scapegoat these people as opposed to seeing them as victims of certain circumstances. Not to take away any agency from any one person. explicitly, but we know that this is a symptom of a greater problem. And so this is a shitty page, and I thought that Steve Bailey, my suspicion was Steve Bailey, formerly of the Post and Courier, was behind this page. I suspect that both Steve and Tim have some sort of connection to this disgusting page. So if you're following it, please know that these are not friends. And I think this is the challenge, because I saw a lot of they did follow us. Like, they came at people who they deemed as progressive and started following us on social media, and then I unfollowed and removed them as a follower from my account. But if you are following this page and you think that this is, well, they're just trying to lift up and hold the mayor accountable, no. Look at how they look at the images that they show. Look at the headlines that they promote. Right. Look at how they're lifting up things, and even if things are unsavory and don't look right to you and look like you gotta look at the motive behind this page, and so this is really tragic. It's really tragic, disgusting. All right, I'm gonna get off this. Head back to, let's go ahead right here. Start with let's go city council preview news.
News 2 is your local election headquarters, and there are 3 Charleston City Council seats up for grabs this year. Another 3 council members are running unopposed. Tonight, we are profiling the District 12 seat. News 2's Jordan Siopa spoke with 2 women running for that seat.
Incumbent Carol Jackson is up against political newcomer Caroline Parker. I talked with both women on why they want to represent James Island. Carol Jackson will take on Caroline Parker for the 12th District Charleston City Council spot. Jackson has served on council for 4 years, and she's an active retiree and lives on the island with her husband and children. Much of her focus has been on cleaning up the James Island Creek. She helped form a task force that requires the creek to be cleaned up.
I mean, everything that I do, I think, is to keep James Island in sort of the low density, low key, open spaces as much as possible.
She says moving forward, she wants to fulfill the goals of the newly adopted city plan, specifically focusing on the land and water analysis. Jackson also hopes to incentivize what she calls appropriately located housing.
Developed as an incentive to people that are just starting out in life and don't really want to have a huge house in the suburbs. They want to have a fun lifestyle, you know, with a smaller size house. And we don't have a lot of those.
Her opponent is Caroline Parker, who will be running for her first government role.
I think that my take on politics and, what's going on in the city of Charleston and city council right now, I think it's refreshing for a lot of people. I do think it's something they want to see.
She's a preschool teacher on the island and is raising her 3 sons with her husband. If elected, Parker says she hopes to work on flood mitigation and storm drain management, and she also hopes to improve the rec center.
We could really, really step it up in our district and have the city really incorporate, again, bring the focus back to James Island.
Both women encourage everyone to get out and vote tomorrow. Reporting in Charleston, I'm Jordan Siopa.
Have y'all heard anything about this woman other than like what we just saw there? Have y'all heard anything there? Because I haven't heard anything beyond what she just said.
On 2.
And we want to...
I think that race is very important. Very important. All 3 of these, any race is important. Let's go to this one right here.
In Mount Pleasant, I'm Katie Augustine. Count on 2.
Oh, okay.
We continue our team coverage right now in the city of Charleston. There are several city council seats up for election, including the District 10 seat, which represent parts of West Ashley. News 2's Jordan Siopa caught up with the candidates hoping to earn that District 10 seat. Jordan?
Carolyn, incumbent Harry Griffin is hoping to win a second term to represent West Ashley. He's running against Charleston County Public Defender Stephen Bowden. Griffin says since he's been elected, some flooding issues have been alleviated. He says he wants to continue working on the infrastructure. The councilman is hoping to win the community's vote despite facing some controversy, including dropped DUI charges. Now, as for his opponent, Bowden says if elected, he hopes to tackle issues like flooding and traffic.
Can I just tell y'all, so y'all know this, y'all know media. So when News 2 reaches that, so this is a new face for me. Let me get her name right. I'm bringing it back. DJ Running Back. DJ Running Back. All right. I'm with my DJ. No. I'm acting like a DJ. I'm gonna run it back, right? So this is a new face to me, but she's been killing it. I saw her name dropped on Stephen Bowden's IG in preparation for that, I believe, this news package. But check this out.
Pleasant, I'm Katie Augustine. Count on 2.
Here we go.
We continue our team coverage right now in the city of Charleston. There are several city council seats up for election, including the District 10 seat, which represent parts of West Ashley. News 2's Jordan Siopa caught up with the candidates hoping to earn that District 10 seat. Jordan?
Carolyn, incumbent Harry Griffin is hoping to win a second term to represent West Ashley. He's running against Charleston County Public Defender Stephen Bowden. Griffin says since he's been elected, some flooding issues have been alleviated.
Right there. So Miss Siopa is having them walk, because Carolyn Murray had me do this. And I was like, they just want you to walk and look and just stroll. So that's what I'm like, she made him, like, not made him in a bad way, but she got good B-roll though. And it wasn't some random B-roll. So shout out to Miss Siopa.
He says he wants to continue working on the infrastructure. The councilman is hoping to win the community's vote despite facing some controversy, including dropped DUI charges. Now, as for his opponent, Stephen Bowden says if elected, he hopes to tackle issues like flooding and traffic. He says he plans to do this through zoning reform.
I fight for fairness and justice every day in my job.
That's right.
And I think that's what people in my district are looking for. A little bit of fairness when it comes to the development process, a little bit more consideration when it comes to flooding and traffic, and just a fairer shake in terms of where the resources are being allocated throughout the city.
And obviously, I've never really had the opportunity to see whether or not my district still supports me. And we're going to have a good idea of that tomorrow.
Wait, whoa. Time out. First of all, chat, y'all making me laugh too much. Evelyn, I don't know who he's waving at. He looked like a cop chewing gum aggressively with the shades on. Unless you're Joe Biden rocking the aviators, the shades, when you're kind of like, I know it's a sunny day, but you're going to have maybe a ball cap, preferably not a red one that says MAGA crap on it. But like sunglasses, no. I'm glad that he grew out his buzz cut a little bit. Looks less like a skinhead, real rap. Yeah, I just think that Harry's showing the little things. Yes, the shades, a bad look. Chewing gum aggressively, bad look. And then he said that he hasn't had a chance. I'm gonna rewind it. Like a good selector. I'm gonna rewind it. Did y'all see this?
Traffic. And just a fairer shake in terms of where the resources are being allocated throughout the city.
And obviously, I've never really had the opportunity to see whether or not my district still supports me.
That's bananas. Where's your team? Even if you have a kitchen table team, right, which consists of, maybe family members, close acquaintances, someone within your team should be skilled enough to give you some sort of either numbers. Of course, I don't expect him to have some sort of polling apparatus, right? But there are so many ways for you to understand or have, do a little heat check within your own district. The fact that this man does not know where he's also hedging. I'm gonna see what y'all saying. Y'all blowing this up in the chat. I think he's also hedging, right? In case he's just like obliterated at the polls. Because Stephen has already been very competitive with fundraising. Stephen has really knocked on a number of doors, like thousands of doors. So he's hedging a little bit too, like so that you get ahead of it. But for him to say that he doesn't know where he stands in his district, that right there is grounds for you to be promoted to resident. Let's vote you, Harry Griffin for resident. Harry Griffin for resident. Harry Griffin for resident. That's my ham and mayonnaise, right? Let me see that. Let me see what y'all saying over here in the chat. You don't remember the petition, like that part, like Evelyn. To that point, shout out Marcus and BLM. The petition is how people that's how you know who supports you or not. Even though the petition went around the world, the petition was a good start. Like 29,000 people said, nah, bro, you're trash. 29,000 people. Maybe like, I don't know. Gee golly, I don't know how many people support me. I don't know. Gee golly. Like, man, shut up.
And we're going to have a good idea of that tomorrow. You know, my name's on the ballot. There's been a lot of background noise over the last few months, really the last year, but my district's never really had the opportunity to say whether or not they support me or not, and we're going to find that out tomorrow.
What?
And now 2 other city council seats are in tightly contested races, District 12 and District 4. I reached out to Robert Mitchell and Tim Weber who are running for the District 4 seat. They were not available for interviews. Live in the studio, I'm Jordan Siopa. Count
Mr.
on
Mitchell.
2.
Tomorrow we'll have.
Okay. Mr. Mitchell, you need to make this up. Let me stop. He been doing good. He been all right. Let's go to Mount Pleasant. And then we're going to go to some other things. Let's go to... What the hell is Wendell Gilliard doing now? Oh, boy. I just spoke on the phone with Rep. Gilliard. Shout out to Rep. Gilliard. Shout out to Quajo. I might have to text him. Or just have other people text him. I don't like what I just saw. All right, let's play this Mount Pleasant. This is Mount Pleasant Town Council. I'm going to be real with y'all. I have no fucking clue. I'm in and I'm out. I'm like a burglar. I'm in Trader Joe's and I'm out when I go to Mount Pleasant. I'm at Celadon and I'm out. I'm at a Bite a While and I'm gone. What's going on in Mount Pleasant?
News 2 is your local election headquarters, and we have team coverage ahead of Election Day on tomorrow. News 2's Jordan Siopa heard from City of Charleston County Council candidates.
But first, we hear from News 2's Katie Augustine, who's in Mount Pleasant. There are 4 open seats for Town Council and 11 candidates.
Every candidate for Mount Pleasant Council brought up growth as the hottest topic in town. I asked each of them how they think the spiking population should be handled. A list of problems facing the town, including infrastructure, a lack of small businesses, and declining green spaces, detailed to me by the candidates. And many said these problems are all connected to a larger one, growth. A few used the term smart growth.
You know, our town has a wonderful comprehensive plan.
I love when they come up with new phrases, smart growth. What is that? Let's see what that really means.
10-year plan. And in that plan, it talks about how to control growth, but we need to smartly grow. And that includes infrastructure and traffic and business and homes. There's just so much to that.
Let's not work like we have 93,000 residents. Let's see the reality of where the town's going to go, and I think we could work it backwards from there, and I think we would have a better vision from the residents for sure.
Others say to keep up with growth, infrastructure and traffic management need to be the focus.
But what we can do is, as we improve roadways, there's simple things that we can include in those projects,
Chiron?
Such as the
why they got the Chiron so high? It's cutting off people's faces. Like, y'all, I know y'all think I'm nitpicky, but why is the Chiron so high? Because, you know, like most people are like zooming from home, or like, you know, now since the pandemic, it seems like a lot of interviews have happened remotely. Why is the Chiron so damn high?
Addition of shoulder lanes were absent. Improvement of our current traffic controls on the frontage roads of Highway 17.
Going forward, we really need to start focusing on making our infrastructure better. There's some infrastructure that can't really be fixed per se, but it can be improved.
There are some things that are approved and waiting to be completed that we need to complete, like the walkways, the bike paths, some alternative forms of transportation.
And some say building needs to slow down or even stop.
Kia, my mom too.
The council needs to really focus on maintaining this low percentage of growth in the town, to limiting it to 2% like we did with permit allocation and a restriction and a moratorium on building apartment complexes.
You know, we have grown enormously over the years, as you know. The infrastructure cannot keep up with it. Traffic situation is horrible. Green space is being decimated. And I think it's just time to pause.
In Mount Pleasant, I'm Katie Augustine. Count on 2.
Oh, boy. Yeah. There was a lot there. There's some familiar faces. Shout out to y'all watching on Facebook. For some reason, the comments won't stay up. But shout out to y'all watching on Facebook. I'm trying to keep the comments up. Ooh.
A police officer.
My bad. But shout out. Good morning, y'all on Facebook. I see Five Eyes. Good morning. Good morning. Shout out to all y'all who are here. Who's this ACAB? Who's this? Wing. What is this? Winged Appellation. Okay. Good morning. Said, good morning. Anyone that drops an ACAB, I'm not mad. Okay. All right. Here we go. What's up, Hancocks? Let me see. Good morning. Okay. All right. Let's do. So that was Mount Pleasant. Let's head over here to. Damn, there's so much news. Some of this I am catching up on, y'all. But this is okay. Shout out to. So this is Let me. Good morning, Jennifer. Good morning. I said, and I gave you a shout out this morning, Jennifer, too. Thank you so much for joining the Patreon family. Appreciate your support. It really goes a long way. So this is my relationship with Rep. Wendell Gilliard, aka Cool Breeze. Shout out Courtney, aka Cool Breeze. Nah, Rep. Gilliard, just like any other rep. Let me be real. Just like Todd Rutherford, the Greek Freak. Just like anybody. Sometimes they're gonna do things you don't like. Sometimes they're gonna do things that you applaud. The most curious thing about Rep. Gilliard to me has been his stance on lifting up or upholding the school to prison pipeline. I don't know why he's supported or authored legislation or sponsored legislation that will further lead to the criminalization of young students. He did this when he introduced a bill back in the day, and he withdrew it because a lot of backlash came. A lot of black people was like, wait, it was a pull your pants up bill. Y'all remember that? Do y'all remember that? Like, basically he was trying to create a bill. He wrote a bill or sponsored a bill you could fine children for going to schools and them sagging their pants. So it's probably mostly boys. It would impact black boys. Mostly. So if you sagged your pants at school, you could get like a ticket or something like that. And if like you or your parent, and then also it would be a misdemeanor. And like the backlash from the black community, from everybody was like, wait a minute, hold up. We already got disturbing schools laws on the books. We don't need to continue to expose our children to this risk of arrest and entering them into the criminal justice system prematurely. So that's the first time I really, like when I moved down here, it was the first time I really had a big disagreement with Wendell Gilliard on that. And then he pulled back because he saw the backlash. He didn't like it, but he pulled back off that. And he's shown up for things like the Friends of Gadsden Creek. He's shown up for populations like Joseph Floyd Manor. And so there are things that I'm adamantly opposed to, but I said all that. I have not watched this clip. Let's watch it right now, because we just need to. So this is the thing, Mika. You always complain about politicians. Tamika, you criticized the Democrats. What did Megan Pinckney say? I'm trying to bring down the Democratic Party, and I'm using right wing talking points. Like people who want to oversimplify what it is that we're all looking at, they tend to say things like, if you say things outside of the party line, they'll call you, they'll say that, oh, you're working for the party, you're undermining the interests of the party, yada yada. First of all, I ain't a Democrat like that. I don't know, I might vote Democrat, but I ain't no Democrat. That's number one. Number two, fuck your party. Number three, Jessica told me I could say that. But number four, in all seriousness, your job is to make the candidate better. Your job is not to wear their t-shirt, is not to fan out, is not to go goo goo gaga no, it's not to be a stand. Your job as a constituent, as a registered voter, is to make these candidates better and to give them critique. They've got enough people glad handing and slapping them on the back, and they've got all that. They've got the smoke filled rooms where they cut deals and all that. They've got all that. Your job is to hold them accountable. Remember, you hired them with your vote, and you are eligible. You should feel deputized, empowered, whatever word you want to look for, to give them critique. I don't care if it's something very minuscule. If it falls under their purview as the leader of your area, your district, your whatever it is, That's what you do. You make them better. And so is it about always being antagonistic or confrontational? No, but confrontation is a part of it. You got to make them better on climate issues, or at least on the FOGC issue, on us trying to fight West Edge and support not just the creek. Shout out to you, new follower. I appreciate you. Not just the creek, but back the green, right? That Black history, that Black culture, that those Black lives over there, back the green, right? He's good on that. Not so good on things like, so it says Gilliard pre-filing bill for metal detectors in schools. So this really, 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 really upsets me to see this. So let's watch it though.
New tonight is South Carolina State Representative Wendell Gilliard says he's pre-filing a bill that would require metal detectors at all public schools and athletic venues. Representative Gilliard said he's doing that to curb gun violence, which he calls an epidemic. If the bill were passed, it would require walk-through security systems at all elementary, middle, and high school buildings in South Carolina.
Oh, wow. That was quick. That was quick.
New tonight is South Carolina State Representative Wendell Gilliard says he's pre-filing a bill that would require metal detectors at all public schools and
I don't know why. Why? I don't get that. Like, so y'all know when I say disturbing schools law, right? When I say disturbing schools law, and I know they say that it's no longer there, but it's there. It's there. Joy, if you're still watching, I don't know if you can comment on disturbing schools law. Basically, kids could get arrested for back talking a teacher, being disruptive in class. Basically, if a teacher could send you, a teacher or an administrator could send you to jail, have you arrested for acting out in school. And like, so South Carolina had this law in the books, and I mean the school to prison pipeline was in full effect. We talk about the DJJ disruption and DOJ issues right now. Not necessarily DOJ, maybe the corrections certain correctional facilities, both juveniles and adults. We talk a lot about those issues, but there's so much. There's a place where it begins that doesn't really get that much scrutiny. Disturbing schools. Can't do two things at once, as you can see. So this was the disturbing schools. Let me just get a news clip on it first. Okay. So this is interesting. This is from Education Week. This is 3 weeks ago. All right. Law against disorderly conduct in schools led to unfair student arrests. So when I see Wendell Gilliard co-sponsor or author legislation that will criminalize young Black students for wearing their pants, sagging their pants low, then I see him also now lifting up, he wants metal detectors in schools. All right. It makes me think about like what maybe who's in his ear. You know what I mean? What other interests? So this is from Education Week, y'all. I'm reading this for the first time, so keep me honest if this is problematic or anything like that. I see y'all in the chat. Susanna, let me lift you up real quick with your comment over here on Twitch. You're saying the SROs have just started charging disorderly conduct instead. Look at that. So I Googled this and then got this. All right, Susanna says, I'm friends with 2 former juvenile police PDs. Juvenile PDs. What's that? Tell me what that is. Who put this case together, and they won. There's no disturbing schools charge anymore, but they're still charging kids with something else. That's what I said. It's still there. Because I read something there. Thank you so much for that, Susanna. I really appreciate that. Public defenders, I got you. Sorry, I gotta make sure for clarity. Right. Al, you said metal detectors is a smart political move. When there is any type of future weapon violence in school, he will be, I told you so. Yeah. Susanna, you went on to say, it's not the first time we had that misunderstanding. I know, Susanna. That's why I laughed immediately. I know. Help me out. Can you just put PUBG? Can you put Pup D, please? Just help me out. It's hard. It's hard to read, like, one person read all these comments. It's so hard. All right, so let me read this. Let me make this a little bit bigger because I know y'all can't see it. Oh, wow, you make it bigger and then the ad thing gets bigger. Okay, federal judge sided with South Carolina students who argued that that broadly written state laws against disorderly conduct in disturbing schools allow police to arrest, cite students for routine misbehavior. This is sad. The subjective and inconsistent application, y'all know how they're going to apply it too. Y'all know the subjective and inconsistent application of those two laws led to higher rates of discipline for Black students for issues like loud and boisterous behavior, which school rules typically classify as low-level offenses. District Judge Marguerite Seymour ruled Friday. So this was 3 weeks ago. All right. Her order touched on themes underpinning ongoing national debates about disproportionately high discipline rates for students of color and students with disabilities, school policing, and writing state laws and school policies that ensure equity. Right? All right. So this is interesting. So again, just seeing how it's somewhat troubling. Hey, Joy, you're on Facebook right now. I appreciate you, Joy. Let me read your comment over here. Joy, you wrote on Facebook, there's a disciplinary plan level systems. It's my understanding that police cannot be called for talking back, but they are called for assaults, weapons, and drugs, right? I would love to see the statistics on the searching of Black and brown students versus white. You already know how that's going to fall. You already know. Thank you, Joy. I appreciate it. You dropping Free Palestine and everything. What's up? You bringing what you bringing in Palestine for? Wing Appalachian? You taking us to a whole nother level. We do though. I get you. We are pro Palestine here. Let me see what you saying. Okay. I'm with you. Taking us to a whole nother level. All right, let's get back to the video clips. Because that was disappointing. Let's go to WLTX because, you know, we've got other races in the state. We got a bunch of races. Gee, Willikers. Thank you, Joy, again. Appreciate it. All right, here we go. Here we go. I will say Midland's been holding it down. Midland's news, from the state newspaper to certain news outlets that I've been watching, they've been really holding it down with the election coverage. All right, so let's start here.
Well, polls open in less than 8 hours now for several local elections tomorrow in the capital city. There are several precinct changes you need to know about, so make sure you check your local elections office to verify where you need to go. Here are some of the races that we will be following. The race for Columbia Mayor, the City Council at-large seat, and City Council District 1 in Columbia. Meanwhile, it's important to note that several election precincts are changing for tomorrow's election. Ward 1 at the Lurie Center is now combined with Ward 33 at King Park. Ward 2 at the Marion Street Apartments is now moved to Main Street United Methodist Church. Harbison 3 at New Heights Baptist Church is now combined with Harbison 1 at Harbison Community Center. Riverside at Virginia Wingard Methodist Church is now combined with St. Andrews at St. Andrews Middle. And finally, South Beltline at Sherwood Forest Presbyterian Church is now moved to Midlands Tech's College Student Center.
Okay. Ooh, let's watch this. Well, sorry, we're gonna hop out of South Carolina. We're gonna hop out of South Carolina for a second, and we're gonna come right back. But just because it popped up, let's watch this because this is the race we're gonna watch later on when I come back. Or if Nicole tells me to stay on, I will.
Of important developments in American politics. First in Congress, where Senator Joe Manchin is wavering yet again on President Biden's massive agenda, and that could throw a big wrench in the Democrats' plans.
Yo, I'm over this shit. He is loving this attention. He probably never got this type of attention ever in his life. He is loving this. He is the star of his own show. This dude is just, to me, I'm at a point where I'm like, well, fuck it. If you don't want to give, because in this, I think this piece, I watched it this morning. This I actually saw this morning. I thought it was going to be a different clip, but I saw this morning. If you don't want to, because this shit should have been passed, right? And they're going to touch on it. If they would have passed this shit, this sweeping legislation, and would have done things like, you know, giving people paid leave, help expand Medicare, you know, college, you know, going to community college for free. You know how that would have helped these Democrats in the midterms, and they could point to the scoreboard and like, yo, look, we ran the score up, we won this, and you got this bitch ass right here doing what he does. I'm like, I'm over it. Like, part of me is like, well, then pull the whole thing and just chalk it up, chalk up the midterms. Just go ahead and just like let him be a Democrat in a red state, and just keep like I'm over it. It's just, I know that sounds really. I'm not even giving you any type of real analysis, but like this is exhausting at this point. It's almost feel like tug of war where you just want to let the rope go and just let the person fall. Like nobody wins. Right? It kind of feels that way. Like that tug of war, I might as well just let the rope go and let them fucking fall. Cause this is getting on my nerves. And like literally working against his own party. Both him and Sinema. Maddening.
Meanwhile, over at the Supreme Court, the justices are facing tough legal questions over that controversial anti-abortion rights bill in Texas. And it is also Election Day, where a key race in Virginia could have national consequences. And we're going to start there with Ed O'Keefe, who's been following it all for us. Ed, looks very close there. Good morning.
Good morning, Tony, and welcome to Virginia's largest county. We're smiling through the mask this morning because nearly 50 people were in line before the polls opened. One woman came in here a little while ago, pumped her fist and said, I'm ready. We like to see that kind of enthusiasm on an election day. This is just one governor's race in a southern state, but this contest may give...
Hey, Miss Isom, you still with the Teamsters? Miss Isom, what's up, Jane? Good morning. Jane Davis, settle. Good morning. I know I shouldn't be shouting y'all off for just watching, but good morning on Facebook. Miss Isom, you still work for the Teamsters? Drop it in the chat on Facebook if you can.
Give us early hints of what to expect in elections next year across the country.
Exactly.
Wake up, Virginia. Here we come. Let's bring this baby home.
More than 1.1 million estimated early votes cast in a race between Democrat Terry McAuliffe and Republican Glenn Youngkin that polls show is a toss-up. Youngkin is a wealthy businessman and first-time candidate.
We get to stand up and say no to this left liberal progressive agenda that's trying to take us over. No.
He's keeping his focus on parental control of education.
What we won't do is teach our children to view everything through a lens of race.
Youngkin also appears to be benefiting from an increasingly unpopular President Biden.
Terry is running against an acolyte of Donald Trump.
McAuliffe is a former governor, and he's running again by running against Donald Trump.
I've beaten Trump twice in Virginia. Tomorrow we go 3-0.
He's
set aside, like, y'all know how I feel about corporate Dems and whatnot, and or whatever, whomever, right? The establishment. The dude, from just a purely like strategist perspective, the dude's doing his fucking part. Help him the fuck out. Help him the fuck out. And this is how you know that the easy wins that the Democrats are just like they choosing to lose, right? This is how Democrats play. It's maddening. They play to lose, right? I get it. I mean, I get it in terms of like it's whatever, but like this is how you know that they're just happy with people like Manchin, people like Clyburn, people like Sinema. They are happy with the interests that they like, their proximity to Big Pharma, to coal, like Winged Appalachian said. They're happy with whatever they get from that. That's all that matters. They don't care about sweeping reform. They don't care about actually helping out West Virginia's poor populations, right? They don't care about that. They just want to benefit personally and politically. They want to continue to build political power. And there is no real interest in actually bringing about this type of legislation. This is funny to me, though, because why the fuck would you run for president, Biden? Why the hell would you waited so long? You done lost so many. You done showed up in primaries and just been escorted gently to the door. You are. I mean, I'm not being ageist, but you are a man of a certain age, and you fought this hard. You hung on this long, just so you can come up here and do this bullshit and not pull him, whip him in his shape. Because like y'all said, somebody else said it earlier in the chat here on Twitch. Like if Joe Biden wanted to make things pop, wanted to make things shake, he could have been picked up the phone, called him like, I'm taking this back. You're not getting this. Senator, you're not getting that. Arizona ain't getting this. West Virginia ain't getting that. And then that. Like if he really wanted to, oh my God, he could have been played hardball. And we're gonna let the rest of the clip play. But like, why wouldn't you mention the midterms are coming? Why are you sabotaging the midterms? Then you think about it. Oh, he don't give a fuck. It don't matter. It don't matter. Jessica, you said we're always sitting on our hands. Yeah. While Republicans play dirty. Absolutely. It's infuriating, Kia, for sure. Yeah, Evelyn, you said, can politicians stop having the most awkward dance? They can't. It's in their DNA.
Relentlessly tried tying Youngkin to the former president by, among other things, raising concerns about abortion rights after Texas passed one of the strictest abortion laws in the country.
Men like Donald Trump and Glenn Youngkin should not be telling women what to do with their bodies.
Youngkin says he voted for Donald Trump last year, and although he's avoided campaigning with the former president, that didn't stop Trump from holding a telephone rally with Virginia Republicans.
That's how they do.
Last night.
You got to send a message to this really corrupt media, the fake news, and all of the people who are destroying our country. Vote for Glenn Youngkin. He's going to do a fantastic job.
Also today up in New Jersey, they're voting for governor, and in big cities across the country, from Atlanta to Boston, Cleveland to New York, they're picking new mayors to fill city halls. But again, this contest here could be a big indicator of what to expect, because if we see turnout in a swing state, a blue state, where the president's approval is sagging, it could have ultimately
Wing the Appalachian, you preach it to the converted when talking about Joe's racism. Like, we already seen him work very, very well with the likes of Strom Thurmond and Senator Eastland, right? Y'all make sure y'all do y'all Googles. Joe Biden supporting Senator Eastland and working with Senator Eastland. Do your Googles on that one. So you know that there is definitely issues there with Joe Biden. It's infuriating. The quote Kia. Let's get back to WLTX. Bring it back to South Carolina. But I didn't mind going to Virginia real quick. Virginia and West Virginia is killing me right now. All right, so Columbia. Okay, it's a garden salary recall. Columbia, the deadlines, penalties for city employees. Yeah, have y'all seen all that stuff? Let's do that. Let's do this, and then we're gonna hop over to some other news pertaining to state. This is not election news per se, but let's stay current.
City of Columbia releasing details surrounding.
So you saw on like Facebook all these like cops and firefighters, saying that they're electing to not get the shot, and they're walking away from pensions and retirement. Some of them probably eligible for retirement, but I think that's wild to me. So I'm interested to see what the pushback is, what the blowback is going to look like here in South Carolina.
Their employee COVID vaccine mandate. Right now, at least 80% of their employees are fully vaccinated, but all must have the shot by the end of next month.
Kia.
Naja Hood tonight with the story.
As public servants, we have to maintain an adequate, healthy workforce, and so the spirit behind our policy is trying to do just that.
City employees have until November 15th to receive their first dose of the vaccine and will have until December 31st to get fully vaccinated. If they do not receive the vaccine, they will get a written reprimand and be ineligible for work-related travel, promotions, and bonuses. The city says the consequences listed in the policy are based on CDC guidance.
There's so many things here that are listed as consequences that I'm trying to allow them to maintain their employment even if they are unvaccinated. But the reality is there's so many consequences there that would go along with being unvaccinated.
unvaccinated employees will also be subject to weekly COVID testing. The city says in part, quote, in an effort to achieve and maintain a workplace that is free from this known health and safety hazard, the city of Columbia has adopted this mandatory COVID-19 vaccination policy to protect our employees and reduce the risk of transmission of the virus to the citizens we serve. The policy also says exemptions could be granted under the basis of pregnancy, medical condition, or religion.
I think the policy is very balanced. We're still pushing towards December 31st and encouraging our employees to all get fully vaccinated by that
confused.
In Columbia, Nigel Hood, News 19, WLTX.
Yeah. But like it's crazy.
Today, the city of Columbia.
Winged Appalachian, like it's crazy. COVID has definitely impacted law enforcement officers who are refusing to get vaccinated, and also so they're either being taken out by COVID, which is tragic. Like I'm not gonna make light of that. The loss of life, I'm not gonna make light of that at all. I think it's tragic, no matter who dies, because it's it doesn't have to happen. It doesn't have to happen. Yeah, let's New Jersey. Yeah, but either taking cops out by due infection or taking them out by their decision to resign. Let's get to the let me get my Jersey girl out. No, not y'all, not Squawk Box. Let's see who's got a. Here we go. Eyewitness News, ABC 7. I grew up with ABC News 7. Sam Champion was my weatherman growing up. So let's watch this. This looks like this is kind of long. Wait. No, not that one. NJ Spotlight News. Let's go here. No, that's 3 days ago. Hold on. Let me go to the videos. Let's see if there's like a shorter. This is 11 minutes. That's too much. Oh, y'all see who might be running for governor? Did y'all see that?
Hello, everyone. I'm Bill Ritter, Channel 7 Eyewitness.
Bill Ritter. Okay. Did y'all see this? I was like, okay, we knew what old girl was up to when she came at Cuomo. We saw that coming.
News WABC TV, and welcome once again to the countdown. Lots to unpack. Talk about politics, local, national. It's all coming to you right now. We have two guests to do that.
Okay.
ABC News political director Rick Klein and political consultant Hank Scheikoff, our political team for Up Close and the Countdown. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us once again. Lots to talk about. Let's get right to it. Let's talk first about President Biden, both the pandemic, we'll get that second, and more importantly, the spending bills and the infrastructure bills. And
his hair has gotten so poofier, so much poofier with time. This is interesting. I've never seen a guy with this much poof and sideburns on like holding down an anchor desk. I'm sorry, I'm distracted. It's just a lot of volume. He's like, look, I got this hairline. I got this lushness. You're going to get all of this, okay?
The money he wants to spend, severely slashed. Congressman Adriano Espaillat told me on a taping on Up Close that airs Sunday that he thinks it'll all be voted on next week. And he's a member of the Progressive Caucus, but he says we're going to.
I love that color on Jill.
And we're going to pass this vote. Rick, what's your impression? Do you believe that's going to happen? How important is this?
I mean, we're about the 12th deadline in for this never-ending story here. I actually do think that they're close. I think that there's a possibility that this comes together. I think what has to happen is the progressives need to have some trust in the moderates, and that's been missing so far. There's been a severe lack of trust up until this point. Eventually, they're going to get to a point where they reach a compromise, but I think it really is about that trust. And I think if progressives are okay with this more modest number, 1.75 trillion as opposed to 3.5 trillion, then the rest will be details, and they'll eventually get it done.
Hank, in your opinion, is this about what they really believe, or is it also about, hey, we got an election coming up, we got a president's legacy on the line here, and we have our midterm elections when we're all up for re-election?
Don't believe the progressives care about much of that at all. What this was really about in many ways is a challenge to the existing authority of Nancy
Whose phone
Pelosi
is that?
by
I'm
the
sorry.
younger progressives.
With these earphones, I can hear. I don't know if y'all can hear it. I think the other guest's phone is going off. But don't you love this kind of coverage, y'all? This is the kind of coverage I want to provide today. I don't have that many. I don't have any guests lined up unless Steven wants to come back, later on. We go closer to the polls closing. But this is the kind of coverage too that I wish we had here Not necessarily like horse race, but like some good
that they're
analysis.
Really in charge. If they get nothing done well, they also win because they have a reason to go after the Democrats, their own, next year.
Oh, interesting. So Rick, using Hank's theory about that, Mr. Biden wanted to have a vote.
Should have had a vote.
Deal on the table that was finished by the time he left for the G20 summit on Thursday. That did not happen, and he went there, sort of on his knees, begging for some sort of reconciliation and agreement here.
Yeah, I mean, this was it was a gamble, and he's basically daring members of the House to defy him, to say, you're going to say no to this. Speaker Pelosi even told her colleagues, don't embarrass the president when he's on the stage. Well, it was just a statement about the lack of sway he has inside the party, maybe even more generally nationally, that he was unable to get them in line, because I think there was a lot of optimism at the White House that this would be it, but I think the members of Congress are pretty jaded around this negotiation, and they know each other, and they trust or mistrust each other. And ultimately, they were not willing to take the word of the President of the United States, of their own party, when it comes to saying that this deal is good enough to get everyone on board.
Hank, it's been clear to me that the Republicans are being kind of hush-hush about this. Let them fight among themselves.
Yep, let them implode, rather.
It's a very smart strategy. Chaos and disorder are often tagged to Democrats, not Republicans. If the crime numbers across the country continue to rise, remain even flat, and don't decline, well, the Democrats have another set of problems that they're not likely to overcome. Disorder has sunk them many times in the past. You go back before Richard Nixon. It was disorder and chaos and the sense that things were out of control, whether in fact the Democrats passed good legislation or not, that made trouble in midterms and even in presidential contests.
Let's talk a little bit about some state and local politics here in the state of New York and the city of New York. Rick, I'll start with you.
I kind of want to skip this.
Andrew Cuomo now charged with a criminal offense of fondling a staff member.
That's gross.
Who's going to go before a judge on November 17th. And all of a sudden, the woman who investigated him, Attorney General Tish James, is now running as of today for governor. What's your take on it?
She pulling a Chris Christie. I'm gonna have these signature wins from the Attorney General spot, and I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna swoop in and get that ass. I like that. I ain't mad at it. And the hair stay laid. I love it. Love it. And she got my sister's name. Not the way my sister spelled it. My late sister, Letitia, may she rest, got her name too. So I'm looking at you, Letitia. I'm looking. Look. I want to also make this clear, right? Like, this is how I watch it. I'm watching news with y'all the way that I would love. I'm watching news, and this is how I do it. I kind of like make little observations and whatnot. I do want to say this. I'm not trying to tell y'all how to vote or anything like that. I'm just sharing y'all my perspective, and y'all kind of y'all dig it. If and when a Stephen Bowden, a Letitia, maybe, whomever, if and when they win, it changes, right? Accountability is going to be like the tone of it. So I just kind of want to remind, like, I know I sound like I'm fanning out. I'm not fanning out per se. But I mean, I will definitely comment on a good dress and a good coif. I will definitely comment on that. That's just what I do. But just know, like, when they do get the power, that's when the relationship changes a little bit, not necessarily confrontational, but we got to make them better candidates. We got to keep them honest. So I don't know, I felt compelled to say that.
On all this, it sounds a little like,
men are gross.
Maybe something was set up here.
Yeah, I mean, the timing, I don't think actually plays that well for Tish James, because she's trying to cast her decision to run for governor as independent of anything else. And for people that are inclined to believe Governor Cuomo's version of events, for people that might be skeptical about political motivations, the fact that it's all happening at the same time is not ideal. That said, look, she's going to have a heck of a race on her hands going against Governor Hochul. Yep. And I do think that this does make it less likely that former Governor Cuomo gives it another go. Although he's been defiant in his denials, it's really hard to imagine criminal charges being added to the mix and then him trying to mount a comeback anyway.
So for a political consultant who gets paid to be a political consultant, Hank, how do you take this? It's certainly a little more exciting than if Andrew Cuomo was running for a fourth term.
I make Hochul the favorite today. Could change next month.
Yeah,
I'll make James the problem.
Hochul's been holding it down.
Being locked up or being told he's going to be locked up or charged does not help her at this moment.
There you go, Joy. Thank you.
For a lot of people, you want the Cuomo killer, who could be, frankly, the first African-American woman governor in American history? Or do you want to have the first woman governor that you have right now, who's historical in New York State. It doesn't benefit Tish James that this has happened in the last little bit. And frankly, it's not going to be a pushover, regardless of what you may think.
Right. A little distance might have been helpful for everyone involved, but that's not the way they decided to do it for whatever reason up in Albany. Let me talk real briefly about the race and the election of a new mayor of New York. We have the governor's race in New Jersey and the governor's race in Virginia, because all this is going to be a sign of what's going to happen perhaps in the midterms. Let's get your take on all three of those races, each of you. We'll start with Rick.
Yeah, I think with Eric Adams, he's likely close to victory, become a new face, a new presence in the Democratic Party nationally. Really an interesting profile. We haven't had a nationally prominent leader quite with the background and the experience and some of the ideas that he brings to that mayor's office. Things are more interesting in New Jersey and Virginia. I think Phil Murphy's going to probably win re-election, but it might be closer than some people think. Yep. And Virginia right now is a toss-up. That's a state that Biden won by 10 points, and the fact that Democrats have to fight it out.
They got
Glenn Youngkin.
The key in Virginia is I hope their GOTV effort is booming. I don't know. I reached out to the homies with Black Voters Matter to see if there was any type of Virginia ground game. And a matter of fact, we'll let this finish because we'll talk about Virginia. But I really wanted to know what I don't have any friends in Virginia. I have friends in North Carolina, friends in Georgia, working on the ground there. I don't have any friends really working in and around electoral politics in Virginia like that. Not DMV, yeah, kind of, but not like in Virginia on the ground. So that one's a toss up for sure. But the Murphy race, I think he's gonna win, but it's closer than it needs to be, which is what.
Republican there wins, it is going to send chills up the spines of Democrats nationwide going into the midterm year.
And in fact, Hank, one poll by Fox News shows McAuliffe actually losing, but we'll see what happens. But that's a tight race.
Virginia, very tight race. New Jersey, too close, closer than it should have been. In New York, frankly, people opted for the centrist, Eric Adams. And if you take the votes of the person who ran closest to him, also a centrist. So you have a centrist attempt by Democrats to survive where they can. It's not working in Virginia. Why? McAuliffe is in real trouble. And it tells you that this election, this midterm, is frankly it's a deliberation about where the Democrats are going, where people don't like them going, and where there's a Democratic majority, as in New York, it's get back to the center.
Okay. Hank Scheikoff, Rick Klein, we have some countdowns to do next week. I think it's going to be a big week here in New York. I really appreciate your insight, gentlemen.
I love this kind of coverage. Like I can just I can just do this all day. Let's get to there was I wanted more on New Jersey though. I wanted deep. Let's get back to South. No, I'm gonna go back to I want to come back to South Carolina real quick. We're not gonna watch the any type of streamed debates or whatnot that are just too long. 8 months ago. Let's see. So there was a oh no, what the hell? This New York. Columbia. I just go to WLTX. Whoops. No. I don't see any quick stories. Let me go to WLTX. One more time. Thank y'all for keeping the chat popping. Joy, you said you personally prefer constant pressure style. Yeah, you got it. Constant pressure. That's it. Like, definitely got to do that. The dealership. My dealership always trying to get me to bring my car in. I wanted to know, what is this? Rural infrastructure. This is a story that dominated the front page of the Post and Courier. I'm not going to get into that right now. I don't have the appetite. State agency selects rural. Yeah. Nah. Oh, this is interesting. What's this? I'm gonna get some progressive news in here.
Posters from the College of Charleston's Avery Research Center for African American History and Culture is on display.
Did this make the news? I gotta remember I took a little news sabbatical. This is dope.
A traveling exhibition of activist posters from the College of Charleston's Avery Research Center for African American History and Culture is on display at South Carolina State University's Fine Arts Building Gallery.
So having this poster exhibition, I think, also encourages our students to not only understand the history of everything that's in this show, but also understand that there are still things that are affecting our community here in Orangeburg.
The collections of dialectic translations are reproductions from activist and social justice advocate James Campbell. Before Campbell's death in January, he donated...
Shout out James Campbell. Y'all remember my little tearful moment in the airport with his cousin, my former professor at NJCU, Ben Jones. Shout out, we lost a real one when we lost James Campbell. So this is dope.
His entire collection to the Avery Research Center. SC State's Fab Gallery curator Ian Welch says the pieces of work are supposed to represent the reflection of how artists and activists have responded to previous political situations and how people choose to respond to current ones.
A lot of these are anti-apartheid posters.
Yeah, pro-Palestine.
So during all the apartheid movements in Africa. So these were created in response to those.
The exhibition is available through Friday for Orangeburg residents and students to enjoy. Welch is hoping Campbell's work inspires them to stand for what they believe in, since Orangeburg has a rich history of social activism.
But also when you get past the school, once you graduate, once you finish your education, your sense of activism and your sense of awareness in your community and in the larger world shouldn't stop.
For Sure Squad Orangeburg, I'm Devin Johnson.
I appreciate him. Ain't wasn't no black faculty available. I appreciate him a lot. I appreciate that. Oh my God. I wanted to watch some, not that episode. I can't.
You mentioned being an
I can't stand Andrew Yang. I'm glad Brianna got him on there. But I wanted to, y'all, if y'all haven't been like consuming this content, please consume Bad Faith. Like, it's challenging. Brianna is very challenging, but in a good way. I've kind of I understand her voice, and her voice is needed. That's where I'm at on it. Her voice is very much needed. Don't always agree with everything, but I'm telling you, these conversations, if you want to have like a more progressive, get more progressive content on some of the races, national races and whatnot, man, start here. It's going to challenge the hell out of you. And I just love the way she questions folks like Ro Khanna right here on the infrastructure.
Colin Powell recently passed away, and many on the left were frustrated that there were expressions of condolences from progressives despite his status as a war criminal.
Who else had a show about that?
Can you explain the choice to say something when you could have said nothing, and why say something about Colin Powell but not certain other progressive leaders like Mike Gravel?
I guess I don't believe that people should be defined by the lowest moment in their lives.
I'm incredibly glad to be joined today.
I'm glad she asked that question. Cause like y'all know I had that question as well. Like I don't care. Say what you want to say about Colin. Oh, I know wing Appalachian. I know you gonna light it up in a second. But not in the defense, but just let me finish my point. It's again just to beat a dead horse, so to speak. That's a horrible analogy, but I'm sorry. My whole thing about it was interesting to see Ilhan Omar offer condolences, but I wasn't bothered by it. It doesn't make me feel different about her political stances because she chose to, to say condolences to Colin Powell. It doesn't bother me. What bothered me was that the attack, you can question it. Yeah, have a threadathon on Twitter where you question why they said anything when they could have said nothing. But the bashing of people who said anything outside of you're a war criminal, roast and pissed. If you didn't the way you were roasted for saying some pretty just basically humane shit really pissed me off. Like that part pissed me off. Yeah. I'm going to Orangeburg too, kid. Just so you know, I need to go there. But anyway, I'm not going to play this whole episode, this episode here. But I encourage you all to check it out. I like her line of questioning. I like what she has to say. Let me see something. keep an eye on the time too. I think I'm gonna tap out at 10, come back. I might come back some real funky time and just stay on indefinitely. Like you might come here and the chair might be empty because I'm going to use El Baño and then come back. I'm not quite sure, but I'm definitely coming back later on, either 5 or 6 at the latest. But I might come back even earlier if some shit pops off. But I probably clock out at 10. Field trip for sure. Seriously, field trip for sure. Let me see if the Hill had any of the oh yeah, here we go. I love me some Ryan Grimm. All right, let's see what was more recent. Oh my gosh, this is another thing that'll challenge you as well. Is so I'm trying to figure out like what the hell is the Hill doing, right? But you kind of get it. Let's do this.
Brian, what's on your radar? So heading into the final stretch of the 2006 midterms, House Democrats were in need of an agenda.
Yes.
They had ridden anger at President George W. Bush as far as they could, and his mishandling of the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina and the occupation of Iraq had allowed them to skate by without offering a compelling counter message. They could have told the American public they were running to end the disastrous war in Iraq, but Rahm Emanuel, chair of the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, had recruited a ton of war-supporting conservative Democrats to try to flip conservative Republican seats. He warned that anything remotely progressive would be out of step with those swing district candidates, yet he still recognized Democrats had to run on something. Finally, in late July of that year, Pelosi and Emanuel finally released their vision, which they called 6 for 06. It was filled with incremental, vague, small ball stuff. But one of the most specific and popular elements of the 6 for 06 was a promise that Democrats would allow Medicare to negotiate lower drug prices with pharmaceutical companies and use the savings to expand Medicare benefits. In November 2006, they won the House back for the first time since 1994. And yes, right out of the gate, they passed a bill to do just that before it promptly died in the Senate. The restriction on Medicare negotiating drug prices dates back to the creation of Medicare Part D in 2003. It's a Republican plan that Bush White House advisor Karl Rove believed would make seniors a permanent block of Republican voters. The legislation, opposed by Democrats at the time, added prescription drugs as a benefit of Medicare, a major advance that has been important to improving the health of seniors, both personal and financial. The law was also a major gift to pharmaceutical companies and included a provision that would bar the Health and Human Services Department from negotiating lower prices. Once a law like that is in place, well-funded networks congeal around it to keep it in place. And I took a look at that lobbying operation in a new piece in The Intercept with my colleagues Lee Fang and Sarah Sirota. Big Pharma's lobby shop is called the Pharmaceutical Research and Manufacturers of America, and it spends over $500 million a year shaping policy and mobilizing the pharmaceutical industry to speak with one voice when it comes to any attempt to regulate drug prices. So Obama, during the 2008 race, pointedly banned a drug industry lobbyist from donating to his campaign and villainized them on the stump. But even at this seemingly high water mark for reform, at every step of the way, the drug industry money continued to flow into the Democratic Party with the explicit goal of buying influence and curbing any prospect for price-cutting policy becoming law. He said at one rally, "First, we'll take on the drug and insurance companies and hold them accountable for the prices they charge and the harm they cause. And then we'll tell the pharmaceutical companies, thanks but no thanks for overpriced drugs. Drugs that cost twice as much here as they do in Europe and Canada."
So what do y'all think happens? You think like, all right, what you call him at Wing Appalachian? You say he's your favorite war criminal? Obama. What do you think happens? Like, how do they corrupt? Like, how do they like, they come in, they campaign and all this progressive stuff in 08, and then when they get in office, Obama starts bombing the shit out of people, drone striking the fuck out of things, deporting people. Not, I know he tried to get the whole, health care. I know, Obamacare, yeah. But, like, what happens to make them buckle?
and Mexico will let Medicare negotiate for lower prices. Yet despite the ostensible ban on lobbyists, non-registered drug industry representatives poured cash into the Obama campaign through individual contributions. And Pfizer officials paid $1 million for skybox seats to watch Obama accept the Democratic nomination in Denver at a party convention made possible by donations from AstraZeneca, Eli Lilly, Amgen, and Merck. The chief executives of the largest drug makers mingled with DNC officials at invitational events. The Center for American Progress Action Fund, the think tank that was considered Obama's administration in waiting, accepted $265,000 from pharma during the campaign. The next year, during the legislative battle to pass what became the Affordable Care Act, pharma lobbyists cut a deal with the White House.
That over the weekend, we reached an understanding that will help close the notorious donut hole in Medicare Part D. This is a significant breakthrough on the road to health care reform, one that will make the difference in the lives of many older Americans.
Maybe, Allie.
What Obama didn't mention there, and which I later reported, is that in exchange for the drug industry agreeing to lower costs for some seniors on the way to closing a coverage gap called the donut hole, the White House would make sure that Obamacare didn't allow Medicare to negotiate with drug companies for lower prices and didn't allow cheaper drugs imported from Canada.
Wow.
So next, the Supreme Court's Citizens United decision in 2010 radically reshaped the political landscape for pharmaceutical companies. Drug firms were already routinely ranked among the largest industry donors to candidates and PACs. Pharmaceutical companies and their representatives donated regularly.
Yeah, I'm a fake Dominican all day. Please. I'm up here, Iconio, all that comes out. You should see me when I come back. Shoot, I got everything but Fabuloso up in here. I feel you on that. Turn into like my faux Latinx comes out hard. I feel you.
Regularly to lawmaker foundations, including the foundation run by former Senator Orrin Hatch and by current Majority Whip Jim Clyburn, as well as the Congressional Black Caucus, the Congressional Hispanic Caucus.
Don't even get me on the fucking Congressional Black Caucus. Don't even get me on them. They the worst.
And other nonprofits and think tanks associated with policymakers. But the court decision opened a new spigot for drug firms to dominate elections. Pharma went from routine $1,000 checks to individual lawmakers to dumping seven-figure sums of largely undisclosed corporate cash into the coffers of dark money groups and super PACs. In short order, pharmaceutical firms made sure that any close congressional election would rely heavily on funds tied at least implicitly to a demand that drug price regulations stay off the table. The Democrats lost the House in 2010, while Republicans swept state houses across the country and used their newfound power to gerrymander a durable majority. Even as
Dems. Thought that was timely. I'm not gonna watch the whole thing. This is very interesting. Please seek out, find Ryan Grimm content. You're gonna find him on The Intercept. You're gonna find him on, I believe, the Deconstructed podcast. You're gonna find all of that. All right. Let me see. Adios mio. I'm telling you, Kia. It come out. Yeah. You headed to Cali. Working, girl. You working. Yeah. Let me hit up one thing I didn't do, y'all. I didn't open up the paper today. We got to do this before I dip. I know the numbers. I know a lot of y'all got to go to work and stuff. And I'm gonna come back, and if you come back and see like me out here chilling with like two people watching, that's me. Like I'm just gonna be here holding it down. Whenever I choose to resume. Y'all didn't tell me. Nicole said keep going, and then 5 o'clock. What time should I come back? 5 o'clock or 6? Right before the polls close? Like an hour before the polls close? Maybe 6. Take a nap. Yeah, I mean, enjoy some edibles. You know what I mean? Leisurely. The leisure life. Let me see. Yeah, we didn't do newspaper. We didn't do front page newspaper. I don't think I opened it up. Did I open it up? Nope. All right. So use your library card, but in the interest of time, I'm not going to use my library card. I don't even want to get into this. Oh, let's get to the front page with today's Post and Courier. Come back at 6:30. 6:30 is too late. 6. Just go live all day and just get up from my chair and just go eat and stuff. I'm already showered. showered and brushed. Hair is wet as usual. On my Brett Hitman Hart shit. All right, so this is the front page of the. This is sad. That's why Rep. Gilliard was telling me this. Okay, so I'm sure he's probably in this. Let me tell you something. The positioning of this of Joyce and Floyd Manor, the positioning is similar to what they're doing over with the Creek, with the Friends of Gadsden Creek. The mayor, MUSC, West Edge, all of them are trying to say, hey, this flooding issue over here, we care about flooding. We care so much about flooding. We want to fill the creek and not let it perform its natural function as a tidal creek, right? We want to fill this creek because we care about these black people over here in Back to Green. And so we want to talk about how toxic this creek is and how toxic the groundwater is, which is not drinking water, right? We want to talk about all of that. And then our suggestion is, let's fill the creek and build a condo and some parking lots, right? That's how they position the problem over there at Back to Green with the Gadsden Creek. They're doing the same thing here. Oh my gosh, there's bugs, there's drugs, there's all this thing, poor air quality. Oh my God, we've got to save them. Let's take them all out and say we're going to refurbish. I'm out of focus. Let's take them all out and refurbish the units. And then you'll basically they want this real estate. They want this going, and they have to figure out how they're going to displace hundreds of residents, and this is actually the poorest. I believe this is the poorest population, hub of residents in Charleston are in this building. So you have what's in essence a high-rise homeless shelter, if you want to be real, right? These that's what you have here. And this is a problem, not the problem how I would approach, not a problem the way I would frame it, but this is a problem for the city. And the only solution I know that they're going for is displacement. So when I see Joseph Floyd Manor and I see the failing inspections and whatnot, who wrote this? I don't know. I don't read too many of Joyce Jocelyn's. I don't think I'm familiar enough. This is sad. And then I'm not a fan of Melissa Maddox Evans here. She was a former Charleston County. She was a former head of HUD. She says here, it just didn't have to get to this point. There just needed to have been more people that have cared as they ride by every single day. Yeah, I agree with her on that part. I was expecting her to say something completely different because she chastised residents before. Yeah, a Mika Marathon. Please do a Mika Marathon. Oh my gosh. What day would you want me to do that? That's crazy. On my birthday? No, I won't be here on my birthday. I'll do a Mika Marathon if y'all show up for the 10 days of Meekmas. It is day 2. All right. I'm turning 41. Y'all get it. I'll do it. I actually do want to do a marathon. But yeah, this is really interesting. I'm going to read this later because, and then when you have the residents come out here and do things I think this man right here, Mr. Ulrich Waldron, holds a jar with a dead bed bug with bed bugs in it. When you do that, while that is jarring and that should really spur people to action, it's going to have a different effect. They're going to condemn this building, and then these people, we're not going to know where they're going to go. They're not going to have too much choice in where they're going to go. And there's so many different factors at play here. But that they've been eyeing this building for a minute, and it's sad. It's sad. All right, and it's crazy how on election day, I really do think the Post and Courier does some really interesting. They make some really interesting editorial decisions, right? So it's election day, and you got 2 race stories here. They got Jennifer on the race beat. You got this story here about the whole Harvard. I don't even know why this headline is horrible. The Harvard, there's some archival items depicting black people in this very inhumane way. Anyway, they got that story here. They got the Joseph Floyd Manor story here. The Harvard story is important. I didn't mean to sound dismissive. This is interesting. MUSC under investigation for infectious waste disposal. But then they've got below the fold, they've got the voting news, which is interesting. Front page, but below the fold, and it really does, like, they've been doing really interesting things. If you go to the state, okay, let's go to the state newspaper. Let's look at their, so when you open up the state newspaper, and let's go back to just Post and Courier, the digital edition, right? So you open it up, morning edition, you see that police, right? Former governor goes toe to toe with Elon Musk. We saw that. Right. You see that this is Post and Courier. This is Charleston's paper. Then you go to the state newspaper. What you got? Boom, in your face, voter guide, right? And before they've had this voter guide up for weeks now. And then you've also got the election stuff leading off, right? Then it gets into some, more election news. Like, yeah, I understand they got a mayoral race, but I mean, we've got city council races too. So then let's go to their e-edition so we can see the front page of the paper. Let's see. I don't know. They did the same thing. SC GOP voters sound off on whether Trump should win. Greenville is a success story. I guess tomorrow's going to be all election coverage. They got 2 voting stories on the side here. All right, SC voters head to the polls to the Midlands. This is Chris Traynor. I guess they both did this. That's interesting. I guess they're getting ready for tomorrow. At least they got an election story above the fold. I'll give them that. And Joseph Bustos is on it, so that's going to be a dope read. Yeah. They get more points, though, for having a voter guide, for sure. For sure. Let's hit this up real quick. Jar of bed bugs is disgusting. Oh, we got an ad here. Hold up.
After her accident, you know how much Teresa had to pay to talk to a lawyer?
All right, so this is Election Day. Voters casting ballots in community races across the state. So we watched WCBD coverage. Let's take a look here at
because our clients
Channel
get
5.
our no-fee guarantee. That means all consultations are free.
It is Election Day, and there are several municipal elections in the Low Country. Polls open in a few hours at 7 o'clock this morning. There are 6 different mayoral races across the Low Country: Isle of Palms, Lincolnville, Mount Pleasant, the city of Georgetown, Walterboro, and Lodge. There are also 3 Charleston City Council seats up for grabs, as well as council races in several other cities and towns. Polls will be open until 7 tonight, and as always, if you get in line by 7, you cannot be turned away. To find your precinct and get a look at your ballot before you vote, just head to live5news.com and look for the election story on the front page.
Okay. So that's that one story. Let's see what else is popping. Live 5 on this election day. Yeah, I'm gonna gently check in with Steven. I know he's busy, but I'm gonna gently check in with Steven there. There's some really sad news here. Yeah, I think I'm gonna check in with some races. Do my Googles, look at research some news stories, and then when I come back, because we don't have race coverage that we don't have a lot of news coverage like that 24 hours. So when I come back, though, I'll fill the time with some other pertinent updates from other races, and we're gonna watch some things come in. We're gonna kind of probably make it a longer evening. Maybe, I hate to say that, but yeah, maybe. We'll go until we get some definitive news, at least locally. We'll go until we get some definitive news. But I'll go ahead and cut out here and check out. I'll send out. I probably will send out one more newsletter to piss anybody off. I will say this: thank you so much for your support. It's great to be back. All right, it's great to be back. I'm happy. It's the second day of Meekmas. I want to say, if you haven't, please think about, if you haven't listened to the Mic'd Up podcast, please make sure you consider doing it. It's a very short, in terms of length, a short listen. I really just wanted to walk through my thoughts on the Mother Emanuel $88 million settlement. I'm conflicted. I know when I listening back to it yesterday, it sounds as if Mother Emanuel just happened to me. Like I said, when I was listening back, I'm saying people listening to this are going to think that something just happened, but it felt like I was taken back to 2015. And so it's just my thoughts on the settlement and how like these settlements are this trend that shouldn't be trending, which is, you know, pretty much putting a price, a dollar amount on Black lives. And that's just, you know, having our lives reduced to some sort of some record-breaking sum, to me, is heartbreaking. And so if you haven't check out Mic'd Up podcast, Mic'd Up with Mika. It's on Spotify, it's on Apple, it's on Google, it's on Breaker, it's you can get it wherever you want. Anchor. All right, check that out. And yeah, it's really bite-sized. All right, so I'll come back, I'll get organized, and you'll get a newsletter update and like the regular notification when I hop back on. All right, and that's gonna be me on for over 2 hours at least. I don't know how long I'm gonna go, but I'm gonna be on. All right. So I'll check y'all later on this afternoon or evening. All right. Take care of yourself. I appreciate y'all for holding me down today. Bye.